James Henderson's general informative speech for Jim Fincher's online public speaking course. Here's my audience. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. As a heating and air conditioning service technician, I often find that customers don't have a clue about how their system actually works. And as a result, this can sometimes lead to service calls and the subsequent bill that could have been avoided if they had a little more knowledge about how their equipment operates. Due to our climate and availability, the heat pump is the most common type of HVAC equipment in our area. So tonight, I will focus on a few basic things that every homeowner should know about their heat pump. First, I'll be talking about the thermostat. Second, we'll be talking about air filters. And finally, the heat pump itself. First, the thermostat. Trane, the leading heat pump manufacturer, says that the thermostat should be placed out in the open where it can get the most accurate example of the air temperature. You should stay away from things like heating and cooling vents where it can get hot or cold air, direct sunlight, behind a closed door or other furniture. Honeywell, the leading thermostat maker, defines the thermostat this way, and what I really want you to get from it is that a thermostat operates like an on-off switch, like a light switch. It either turns the heat pump on or off. It does not act like a gas pedal. So, for example, if your house is 68 degrees inside and you want it 72, turning it up to 90 isn't going to get you there any faster. You should set it to where you want it and leave it. Second, we'll talk about air filters. Air filters are sized by how many tons of cooling your unit has in order to let enough air through. Hart and Cooley is the company that manufactures filter grills that these filters go into. According to their sizing charts, if you're going to use fiberglass or polyester type filters, you can get away with 200 square inches per ton. If you want to use these pleated filters, because they're more restrictive, you have to have 350 square inches per ton. Now, of the hundreds of houses I've been to and measured, I've only seen 2 that actually had enough filter area to use these type of filters. So if you want to try them, make sure you take the measurements to find out if they're okay or not for your unit. Finally, a heat pump works just as the name implies. It pumps heat from one location to another. In the cooling mode, it pumps heat from inside your house to the outside. In the heating mode, it pumps heat from outside inside. These heat strips are used as an auxiliary form of heat if the heat pump cannot keep up. Now, they use 3 to 5 times as much electricity as the heat pump to produce the same amount of heat. So you want to use them as little as possible. If you set your thermostat to emergency heat, you're basically turning off the heat pump and using only the heat strips. And that will make your power bill go up very high. Now, in the wintertime when it's very cold, you'll notice that the heat pump may freeze up a little bit outside. In about every hour, hour and a half, you should run into a defrost mode to help clear this up. If you do see frost like this, don't worry, that's normal. If you start to make a snowman like this, then you have a problem with your defrost circuit, and you need to call for help. Tonight, we have learned some basic things, basic information on how your thermostat, air filters, and heat pump work. This information should be used to help you operate your equipment correctly and determine accurately if you have an actual problem or if your equipment is operating normally. Now, most homeowners find this information to be very helpful. I hope that you find it to be very helpful too. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you. You did good.
And everyone is still here.